Dozens of people, including youth from various high schools across the city and state, jam-packed the Chicago Urban League on January 26, 2010, to listen and respond to a recent report commissioned by the Alternative Schools Network and conducted by Professor Andrew Sum and others with the Center for Labor Market Studies at Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts, on the unprecedented extent of youth joblessness in Illinois as well as the city of Chicago and across the country. The report was presented at the youth hearing on education, jobs, and justice, which was convened by the Chicago Urban League, the Illinois State Council on Re-enrolling Students Who Dropped Out of School, Alternative Schools Network, and the Latino Policy Forum. Here's more of what happened
to be re-engaged into school or work, into school or work. Now, a lot of people have asked, why focus on this? Why is this important? So what I wanted to do is just highlight some of the key consequences that I think our young people will discuss later, and I think it's important to consider public policy recommendations. So when teens and young adults don't work, it hurts their future employability. Teen employment in particular is very path dependent. The more you work today, the more likely you're to work in the future. So all these young people that aren't getting critical work experience now are going to have a hard time finding full-time jobs when they're in their early 20s, and are also more likely to earn a lower wage than those that do get work experience when they're younger. The second key point is 20 to 24-year-olds are missing out on these prime workplace skills that I think are important. When you're 20 to 24, you should be working on a 2-year degree or 4-year degree, and you should be in a work earning key skills. Now, there are also a wide array of social consequences that we found associated with reduced teen employment. Teens are more likely to engage in risky behavior, out-of-wedlock childbearing, and male teens in particular are more likely to engage in criminal activities when they're out of work and out of school. Now, what I found was when I was in my hotel today, I found 2 stories in USA Today that I think are embedded in this youth employment crisis. The first one, safety net programs see more on rolls. We have more people than ever on food stamps, more and welfare, and a number of our social safety net programs, particularly the food stamps during this time period. Now, here's a group of young people that could be helping their families out, could be earning more money. I think that's key to this crisis. The second part, teen pregnancy rate on the rise. First time in over a decade that teen pregnancy rate is on the rise. And here you have record low employments of teens. So I think it's key that we embed this story with other stories in the news to show that this crisis has very large economic and social consequences for both teens themselves and all of us. My last piece is just what can be done. So we know that there's solutions to this. So I just want to highlight, in the press release and executive summary, we put into detail what we think. I just want to highlight a few things from that. One is that we need a renewed federal year-round and summer job program. We used to have this in earlier decades. We had one in the 1990s. We need to bring it back on a permanent basis to get young people the key work experience that they should be receiving. The second is we need an emergency stimulus fund to help do this similar work. Teens and young adults have been the most adversely affected group from this recession. So in any stimulus fund, I think it's key that they have a piece in there that they could benefit from. And the second and third things, we need to expand employment opportunities in high school, including school-to-career activities. These programs expose our young people to industries that they don't normally work in. They get exposure to financial services, to healthcare, to professional services, sometimes manufacturing trades. Most teens work in retail, fast food, and leisure and hospitality. Our high school programs can help them gain access to these other industries that they're going to work in when they go on to careers. The last part is we need to make dropout prevention and re-enrollment programs a major priority. If there's one thing that you find in this is that when young people drop out of high school, the labor market cannot absorb them. They need to go back to school. They need to get an educational credential. They need to get some workplace skills so that we can reintegrate them, be productive members of society. Thank you.
Illinois school youth, including young single mothers with children living in transitional shelters, also testified to the panel of national, state, and local government officials about the impact of their joblessness, those employed through stimulus-funded summer employment programs, and about the impact and importance of obtaining jobs. Here's where Ernest Green, a senior at CCA Academy for High School Dropouts, located in the poverty-stricken, crime-ridden Lawndale neighborhood in Chicago, had to say to the public officials and others in the poem he wrote depicting youth struggles in staying in school and obtaining gainful employment.
Adults always ask why it is the way it is in the streets and how a kid can get beat to death right outside of school. But they gotta understand, in the hood, if you fight and shoot somebody, you're the man. But the reality of it is, they're doing all that they're doing the best that they can. A lot of us young men grow up with a poor excuse for a man, or without one at all. But the warrior in us just won't let us fall. All we ever think about is ball. Big money, big rims, fresh J's, new Timbs. Nice and Hardy or a koozie that go well with them. Think about how we gonna go on the block and shut them down, but it's always somebody thinking you're a clown. He don't know who he know. He tried him and went down. They came back, started shooting, shot him, his friend, and a 6-year-old girl who was jumping rope just playing. They don't care who they is. They just going back to spring. But even though I gotta.
It's all right.
It's survival of the fittest. But even I gotta ask why we can't come together like we used to. But I learned the answer to that. It's all about me, forget the rest. But we don't. But that's the mentality of the streets. And if we don't come together, we'll always be beat. But now we got a black president, people yelling we got a chance. But we always had a chance. We just stopped helping the next younger, older black man.
Kevin Johnson, who is starting college in the fall and a youth participant of the Brotherhood organization at the Ada S. McKinley Vocational Training and Job Development and Placement Program in Chicago, suggested that public officials plan for more building of productive public schools and plan for more youth-oriented jobs over building more prisons for idle youth turning to crime.
Because I came a long way, and I had to overcome a lot of obstacles and to get to where I am today. And I've had problems in my life that proposed the thought of me dropping out. But thanks to my mentor, my best friend, Mr. Howard, Mr. Howard, he gave me the motivational push to keep going. And he believed in me. And that's why the thought of dropping out never became a reality. I started college in the fall. Today, I, as well as 84% of the black Americans in Chicago, face a problem: unemployment. Now, they talk about the youth violence, and they say that they're gonna build prisons as a solution. Well, I say, if you create more jobs in schools, that's a better solution, you understand? And now, because building prisons, that's being reactive, and we want to be proactive. Now let's take this time and let's invest in the youth, because the youth, we got a bad name because of the violence, you know. But I just got a little rap or something like this. Everybody got something to say about the youth. No good, all bad, so it's half the truth. You ain't living our life, you just passing through. Ask us about us, is what you need to do. Is education important? Well, yes indeed. The young lady scored perfect on her ACTs. But you don't see that on the news, on the TV screen. All you see is the negative when it comes to the teens. But the youth ain't all bad. The youth ain't all good. It's a mixture of people. We all in the same hood. Some call us trouble kids, but fact of the matter is we just prejudged or just misunderstood. And all I'm trying to do is stop promotion and fuss You want youth off the streets, throw some jobs at us.